Hi y'all. Yeah, I said I'd have a video for you on Wednesday, but Wednesday's almost over. Oh, that's what happens, I guess, when you work. So what this series of videos is going to be, this is going to be Cozies with Misty. So we're going to be talking about paranormal cozy mystery books. And I almost read a full series. It's 7 books. I've read 5. We're only going to talk about those 5. I read them this week. Very reasonably priced, very good books. They're by M.L. Bullock. They're the Gulf Coast Paranormal Society books. Now, cozy by definition is very little romance, no sex. The murder happens off screen. They're just fun books, and they're like my guilty pleasure right now. I do read stuff that's a little bit more heavier, but I might talk about those in general. I read a really good Jack the Ripper book that I'll probably talk about a little bit later in a completely different video. But this series is Wednesdays. We're going to talk about cozies. Funny enough, this series that I read, the Gulf Coast Paranormal, doesn't quite fit the definition of cozy. A lot of the murders, while they don't take place necessarily quote-unquote on screen, they're a little more violent than what cozy mysteries like to take, but wasn't that bad. I love horror, so I'm fine with, violence on screen. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but hey, we're doing this live, so I'm not going to go back and edit that out. But still, these were really good books. Easy reads. I really enjoyed them. Book 1 is The Ghost of Kalioka Road. Alright, now, to be honest, when I read Gulf Coast Paranormal, I am Texan, raised on the Gulf Coast, so I was thinking, the Texas Gulf Coast. This is actually in Alabama, which takes place in Mobile, Alabama. The main character is Cassidy. She's the one you follow through the books. She isn't part of the Gulf Coast Paranormal per se in the first book. As the series progresses is when she joins, and you get to find out more about the people who are part of the Gulf Coast Paranormal Society. Now, what happens in the Ghost of Kalioka Road is it's a road out in front of an old derelict plantation. No spoilers, really. Just going to tell you a little bit about the story and the characters involved. And what happened is, back in the 80s, flashback, first part of the book, a guy was kind of having a fight with his girlfriend, and they got attacked by something paranormal, and his girlfriend disappeared. And he'd been blamed his whole life for that. Flash forward to now, and you meet Cassidy. She's an artist, has a pretty good inheritance, so she doesn't have to work. She actually comes across as a little flighty, but she's still likable. She gets visions, and she's like compelled to paint the vision. And the vision ended up being of what happened on the Kalioka Road. And being as she's unsure about her vision and what it means and everything, she comes across a flyer for the Gulf Coast Paranormal group. And that's where she meets Maida, Sierra, Sarah, Josh, and Peter. They're all the people that are part of that group. And this book deals with her coming to terms with her vision, doing a paranormal hunt, which actually is pretty true to form. My husband was part of a paranormal group, and it's not frivolous. They actually talk about debunking and everything. Of course, it ends up in the story, this actually is happening. So they go and do that, and through the course of it, they find out what actually happened. It's just a really good book. The characters are all well thought out. Cassidy, though flighty, is likable. Of course, you know, there's a bit of a conflict there because Midas is this handsome, very likable gentleman. Sarah, who's in the group, is his ex-girlfriend that's going to go to California and be on a ghost hunting show, who's also having an affair with Peter, which happens to be his best friend. I don't think that's really a spoiler. That really doesn't have anything to do with the plot. If it is, I apologize. So there's tension there. There's tension with Cassidy trying to find her place in the group and dealing with her attraction to Midas and his attraction to her. It was just really good. There were some creepy parts. It wasn't scary. It kind of violent because of what happened. There was deals with like plantation owners and things like that. So it was kind of creepy, which I like. I really liked it. A little more creepy than the cozies I normally read, but it was still pretty good. Book 2, The Ghosts of Crescent Theater. This one was interesting. Dealt with the ghost of a singer. Sierra and Josh were more into play. They're the married couple in this paranormal group. Cassidy and Midas are working on their attraction to each other. And this one had some really interesting scenes. I don't want to get into it because I think that would give away the plot, but it wasn't quite... This one was different. I mean, normally when you read a cozy mystery, there's some red herrings thrown in there to throw you off, but you can really figure out, you know, what's going on. This one had a plot twist that really surprised me. The bad ghost was the bad ghost, but there was, you know, other things going on. So I really enjoyed the Crescent Theater. The first book was a regular book length. Each book after was more novella length. Took me about 2 hours to read each book after the first book. The first book took me like 4 hours. So, and then A Haunting of Bloodgood Row, which is the third book. Again, you're dealing more with the group, which I really liked. I love the dynamics. There's definitely some drama going on with everybody. This one was about ghosts that took place at an old cat house, row house kind of thing. Dealt with a serial killer, which is not a which isn't a spoiler. It's pretty clear right off that, you know, something is going along those levels. And it seems like she spent more time with the backstory of the ghosts in this one than she did in the others. Again, the drama is really building up between all the groups. Cassidy is getting more three-dimensional. Her relationship with Midas is progressing. There were some issues that I had with that part of the book. Again, no sex, all happened off screen, but it was pretty good. I really enjoyed it. Probably not my favorite. The Ghosts of Crescent Theater is still my favorite, the second book. The fourth book, The Legend of the Ghost Queen, dealt with voodoo. Also plantation owners again. It was pretty interesting. It dealt with bootlegging too, which was really cool. Just a really good book. Again, really short. Took me about 2 hours to read. So I really like that one. Now, A Haunting at Dixie House. Now, I haven't finished the series. Alright, I have 2 more books left in the series. A Haunting at Dixie House, it's probably not my favorite. It was still pretty interesting. Took place back in like the 1920s and 1930s, which I love that era. But it dealt with, you know, kind of like a Great Gatsby kind of theme going on, and there was some more drama within the paranormal group, which again I liked. I really do enjoy when kind of the drama from now mirrors the drama that the ghosts are dealing with. I don't know if I didn't like it because I read so many of these together. I mean, I read all 5 of these this week. Which I'm taking a break. I'm not going to read the last 2. I'm going to read like probably a couple standalones just as a palate cleanser, and we'll talk about those next Wednesday. But so far I would definitely suggest reading these books. If you have Kindle Unlimited, they're free, which is why I just kept downloading them over and over and over again. But even I think the most expensive book was like $2.99. So I really think they're worth it, especially if you like to read on your e-readers. Not all of these books are going to be on my Kindle. I will get hardbacks because, I mean, I love actual physical books, but these are great for me to read on breaks and on my lunches when I'm at work. So that's pretty much why I like to read them. So, yeah. Highly recommend this series. First book is novel length. The rest are all novellas. So that's M.L. Bullock, Bullock, and it's the Gulf Coast Paranormal Society books. Highly recommend it. Really good books. A little more violent than most of the cozies that I like to read, but again, there's nothing wrong with that. So I hope you liked it, and we'll talk about some more books next week. So y'all have a good night. Bye bye.